Please welcome Congressman Jim Clyburn.
Sit next to you.
Well, welcome. I'm so glad you could be with us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
For the last year, you know who has been leapfrogging over Congress to invade foreign countries, implement tariffs, unleash massed armed patrols in major cities that have killed Americans, punish media outlets who criticize him, and attempt to freeze child care funds for blue states. And Congress has been, I don't know, MIA, it feels like. Like there's no checks and balances. What's going on, sir? What's happening?
Well, thank you so much for having me. We are seeing what happens when people drop out of the process. And that is exactly what happened in the last election. The numbers are clear. And what we have now is a president who is not just running the executive, but he is running the House of Representatives. He has a puppet as Speaker who seems to do whatever he thinks this president may want him to do. And as a result, the checks and balances are not there. Just that simple.
Yeah. And Congressman, trust and confidence in Congress is at an all-time low. The approval rating, both for Republicans and Democrats, is incredibly low, reaching a record low for Democrats of only 18%. How do you restore confidence in Congress in a moment where no one feels like they can turn to them and expect them to be pushing back right now?
Well, I think you do it the way we just saw it being done there in New Jersey, in Virginia, and nobody's talking about Georgia. But down in Georgia, we won 2 statewide races that had never been done before, defeating 2 incumbent Republicans. In Mississippi, they broke for the first time the supermajority. That's the way you do it. Getting involved in the process and not letting anybody mislead you when it comes to reporting what you may or may not want.
And just to follow up, 2 of your former colleagues in Democratic House leadership, former Speaker Pelosi and Steny Hoyer, have announced that they're not seeking re-election.
Yes.
Have you made any decisions about if you are going to be seeking re-election?
I think I have. I won't be
You don't want to break it today?
No, I have 3 daughters. My late wife left me with the notion that I should make these kinds of decisions as family decisions. And so they and I have been meeting since before Christmas. And we're going to have a few more meetings, and they will tell me what to do.
Let's talk about the midterm elections. They're less than 10 months away. Republicans are working overtime to gerrymander the districts, to change the districts midway through the game. I have heard some, and the Supreme Court is about to rule on a voting rights case. And I have heard some Democrats express concern about the integrity of free and fair elections. Are you worried that they are at risk? And what can the American people do to remain vigilant and ensure that there will be free and fair elections?
I'm absolutely worried about that. As you know, at least, I used to teach history. And I used to tell my students all the time, anything that's happened before can happen again. When that phone call was made, find me 11,740 votes. When we saw those people rapping on those windows up in Michigan, trying to set up separate sets of electors, same thing in Pennsylvania. They were trying to set up a process that will allow this country to return to what it was in 1876 when the election got thrown into the House of Representatives, and they were able to overturn what Abraham Lincoln and the Congress had done, successfully getting rid of slavery. That is what they're attempting to do today. I get sick and tired of hearing people say, it's never been like this before. Yes, it has been.
And you're
Like
right.
just before.
Yeah. And if we don't know our history, past will become prologue. We
Absolutely.
know that. Now, your new book is fabulous, called The First Eight. As you mentioned, it tells the story of the 8 Black pioneers who preceded you in representing South Carolina in the House in the years after the Civil War and before Jim Crow. Now, they are significant figures in Black history, which is American history, something this administration is trying to erase under the guise of eradicating diversity, equity, and inclusion. What is your reaction to these efforts?
Well, my reaction is very clear. We cannot allow it to be done. And I think that we, as activists, I'm elected, but I'm very much an activist. Those people who are concerned about the future for their children and their grandchildren, we have a role to play that we should not ever set aside.
Congressman, today we at this table, but the nation as a whole, are honoring the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And you came of age during the civil rights movement of the 1960s, and you described your first meeting with Dr. King and how it was life-altering. Can you tell us about that?
Well, as you may remember from your studies, not the way I did. In 1960, we formed what became known as SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. At the very second meeting of SNCC, October 1960, we met on the campus of Morehouse College down in Atlanta. And there were some disagreements between the youngsters, I was among them, and we asked Martin Luther King Jr. for a meeting because he had been preaching disobeying unjust laws and paying the penalty by going to jail, and we were not happy with the fact that he was not going to jail.
Right.
And so we had this meeting. He agreed to meet with us, and the meeting was supposed to take place at 10 o'clock in the evening, as it did, for 1 hour. But when we walked into that meeting, it was around 3:30 the next morning when we came out.
Wow.
Wow.
I called that meeting my Saul to Paul transformation. And I have never been the same.
Our thanks to Congressman Jim Clyburn. You can scan the QR code on your screen to buy his latest book, The First 8